Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you are following us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Give us a 5-star rating. It massively helps us out. Enjoy. Pitch it, baby.
Yeah, pitch it.
Pitch it. Yeah, so I randomly assign you all a player with a question, and you have
will be good at this.
And you have to argue for your player whether you agree that he's the best at whatever I give you.
So whether we agree or don't.
So whether you agree or don't agree.
You put the case forward, and
Put
then
your poker face on,
And then afterwards,
Joe.
we work out if you think you're lying or telling the truth.
So
so that's the game.
Yeah.
Whether I believe it or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have got to put on your poker face.
With
So
our IT vibes.
today the question is, who
Yeah.
is the best striker out of these
Currently
players?
or overall?
Just out of these players when they were playing in the Premier League.
Like
They were
Isaac,
playing.
Wilson, Chris
Andy Carroll.
Okay, so Theo Baker, you can have Haaland.
Oh,
Reeve,
yeah.
you can have Van Persie.
Oh, that's mean.
Tom Garrett, Shearer.
I knew you'd give me a fucking Newcastle player.
And finally, a bit of Suarez.
Oh, this is.
Is this just Premier League then?
Yeah, no, just when they were in the
overall
Premier League,
everything?
who was the best striker?
I'll go first, please.
60 seconds go on the clock for you, Theo Baker. In 3, 2, 1, go.
You could say that it's unfair because he's only had half a season in the Premier League compared to the other ones who's had multiple seasons. But if you're looking at a player who has taken the league by storm, he's broken pretty much every record so far he could have broken in the Premier League. He's scored more goals than games in the Premier League, which none of the other players have done. He started and hit the ground running better than any of the players. If he continues this, there is no doubt in my mind he will be one of the greatest strikers ever to grace the Premier League. Maybe he won't have the longevity like Alan Shearer had and stay in the Premier League, because why not? Because he's going to go to Real Madrid. He's going to go to Barcelona. Like a Suarez, you could say. Okay? Erling Haaland can score goals that Alan Shearer could never score. He can score goals that Van Persie could never score. Height, he didn't have the height of Van Persie. He could score goals like Suarez. Suarez is looking at biting people. Haaland is scoring kicks higher than his head.
2, 1. Wow, that's well.
That last 20 seconds.
I don't know what happened at the end there, but you're okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
What was he going on about when the height came
don't
into it?
know.
What happened there? That was when the collapse began.
That was mental.
when the height came out.
Okay, Reeve, in 3, 2, 1.
There's only been one argument put forward for a striker here, and I'd like to disprove that immediately. Van Persie is literally known as the Flying Dutchman. Scored a header that was possibly like 10 feet above him. This is kind of bittersweet for me, because obviously my memories of Van Persie at Arsenal were incredible. Scored one of the best goals I've ever seen against Charlton off the bar and in that flying volley, and then went to United and then basically won them the title pretty much. So that just shows you the capabilities that Van Persie had in terms of goal to game. An incredible record, scored goals whatever club he was at, even included Feyenoord as well. I know that's not in the Premier League, but had everything to his game. Left foot, questionable little right foot, and also aerial ability, linked up play. Volleys, yeah, thanks for that. I've got 10 seconds left. For me, the Arsenal Van Persie is one of the most exciting players I've ever seen live, so yeah. And I've already said he's won the Prem. There we go.
And let's not forget we're given a guard of honour.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, ironically.
His right foot was actually underrated.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
This was just for the Premier League, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Premier League career.
Okay, Mr. Garrett, and
They're just getting that
please
in there.
tell me, mate, why Alan Shearer is the best striker in Premier League history. Thank you.
Well, I could just do this in 10 seconds and say 260 goals. He's the top scorer of all time in the Premier League, so he's literally the best. Haaland, we're not even discussing half a season. Yeah, he's brilliant, whatever. Van Persie just didn't score the goals that Shearer did at a much lower level. He didn't carry teams. Well, he did one season, actually. Shearer's done it for Southampton, Blackburn and Newcastle.
So both of these, like,
I technically didn't reference
Luis Suarez wasn't in the Premier League long enough, hasn't won the Premier League. I think that's the main thing. So, Alan Shearer won it with Blackburn.
It's true.
Blackburn Rovers. That's it.
Fair enough, mate.
Okay.
Didn't even bring up Newcastle, mate.
Didn't even mention a single thing about Newcastle, man. Come on.
Loads there, didn't
Moved
he?
to his boyhood club, became the club's top goal scorer.
he did
did it
well.
in a Newcastle team, not one of the best. He could have went to Man United.
Hey,
won
Lewis,
the
He
trophy.
did it for shit team.
Lewis, he did well when he managed you, didn't he?
Do you know what? He did all right. He did all right. Blame Ashford.
No, he did.
Of course he
He
tried.
did all right. He sent you down.
No, he didn't. He were already down. He almost rescued us. He gave us a chance at surviving. And then Mike Ashley said he'd keep him on, and he didn't because he's a prick. Anyways, finally, Luis Suarez in 3, 2, 1.
Well, this is just a no contest, isn't it, already? And I think the boys know it. They've all lied to themselves while we get to this situation, quite frankly. I think Luis Suarez is probably the third best player of the modern generation behind Messi and Ronaldo. That season at Liverpool, 31 goals in 33 games, pretty much unbeatable rate, although Haaland might well crack through it this season, but he hasn't yet, which is why I can't give it to him. I know we're not talking about the rest of his career, but maybe part of the best front three in football history in MSN. Obviously went on to win the treble under Valverde alongside Neymar and Messi, and was probably the second best of those three players. It's pretty toss of a coin between him and Neymar. 2-time PFA Player of the Year, was he? Oh, 1-time PFA Player of the Year. Definitely 1-time PFA Golden Boot winner. 2-time Premier League Team of the Season. Should have won a title if it wasn't for Steven Gerrard. I do blame you, Stevie, on that one. Luis Suarez very unlucky not to win one. And then, what was it? Last season won La Liga with Atletico Madrid, so his legacy still rolls on. I think.
Oh, Premier League.
I know we're only talking Premier League, but I don't know what more he could have done in his short time there. I mean,
And that's a minute.
okay.
Paddy Kenny probably sees
Ooh.
most of the four then.
Yeah, truth.
Right, do we think Theo meant what he said about Haaland?
No.
You can't think he's the best.
I mean, I kind of feel like he does
could
think
have
that,
probably done
but,
it,
but he
yeah.
can't. He's not though. He's not the best of the
He
four.
doesn't believe that.
You're a bit fluffy.
He doesn't believe that.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, good.
But he could be.
He could be.
Yeah, it's potential to.
I actually don't think he could. I just
As
don't
in,
think
like,
he's
the
a good enough
longevity.
player.
Oh,
He
okay.
could.
Yeah, I don't believe Haaland's the best.
Come on. He could.
Who do you think Theo actually believes is the best?
Suarez.
I don't think it's a contest with any of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Suarez.
Or Shearer,
I really believe.
because you love numbers, so maybe Shearer.
Well, this is an interesting one, isn't it? Because I actually originally thought Van Persie.
Over Suarez.
Did Van Persie do it for longer in the Premier
If
League?
we're just talking Premier,
Like in terms of a Premier League, you're looking at Suarez. In
We're
terms of
talking
what
about
he
the
went
best
on.
striker in the Premier League.
Yeah, but
Not
in
one of
terms
the
of
best striker's career.
yeah,
Who
but
is the
Van
best striker
Persie
in
scored
the Premier
30 plus
League?
goals in the Premier League in a season.
If you could have had Suarez or Van Persie at their peak at Arsenal,
It's
you would have had Suarez.
Yeah, it is.
I've had
In fact,
Van
you
Per-
tried to get Suarez.
Van Persie
Yeah.
every
40
week
million
would
plus
score a
£1.
volley over the top from Alex Song. Every week it would happen. But isn't the answer just Alan Shearer?
Yes.
No.
No, it actually is.
Yeah, but what
Career longevity,
Yeah, what are we
yes.
talking about?
But
Ability,
Ability, as a
outright
striker
ability.
in the league,
Luis
it's Luis
Suarez.
Suarez.
Oh, well, I'm talking about as a striker. Alan Shearer was the pinnacle of.
No.
yeah, mate, he's. I mean,
Anyways.
Well, it depends what you define as.
I'll tell you more.
Striker.
Well, what is a job of a striker? To score goals.
Yeah, but it's also to facilitate other people to score goals as well, though. You can't just be the guy that does it.
But if Luis Suarez had stayed in the Premier League
Yeah.
for as long as Shearer,
But he did,
he
we
might
talked-
well have
that's what-
scored as many
But
goals.
Shearer's a different age as well. It's like a different era of the Premier League, and he was just banging
Don't you
them
think
in.
Luis Suarez
for-
could have done it in the 90s? I do. He's an absolute battering ram.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
the
Yeah, he was a bit
ultimate
beefy.
pitbull.
I think you're doing Van Persie an injustice here.
That amazing player,
I
and
think,
obviously
did
so
RVP
much for
in
the
terms
league.
of
But
in terms of ability, second.
So do you don't believe Van Persie then?
No, I'd have taken Suarez out of the four.
Yeah, I think Shearer's bottom of the four.
no,
That's ridiculous.
Really?
Well, okay.
He's trying to get Russell.
Yeah, half a season,
games.
but he couldn't lace Van Persie or Suarez's boots as a footballer.
So
I'll be
the
dead
Premier League
serious.
top
Wow.
goal scorer, who's
Yeah.
never played for these top teams yet, still reached
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
record.
that's harsh, man.
Yeah.
Is, couldn't
Yeah.
lace the boots of Van Persie, who was just like went to Man
Van
U to
Persie was a
staff
far
hard and
better
win the league.
footballer
Van
than Alan
Persie
Shearer.
got 2 golden boots.
Alan Shearer wasn't a better footballer than
I'm not
Van
never
Persie.
said we're on about who's the best striker. No, I'm not.
So
The best striker is Suarez.
Yeah.
the best player, the best. It's
you're
the same thing.
No,
Suarez is the best player by far. Then it's Van Persie.
I was right.
I'll-
I was
I'll-
right.
I'll
Van
listen
Persie
to
scored 30
Suarez, not
goals
Van
for
Persie.
Arsenal in a season.
Yeah, yeah.
In the Premier League.
I should have really said that.
Van Persie above Shearer is just
What
like.
did Shearer do
just-
better than Van Persie?
Van Persie's doing it at the top teams. Shearer's dragged himself through these teams that aren't at the top and still broken the Premier League all-time goal scoring
Because he
record.
played about 1 million games.
Well, it's not. How many games did Van Persie play? in
Who's
the
got
Premier League?
who's got better goal per game?
Van Persie's
Yeah, but
got
playing
in
in
the
a
Premier
worse
League.
team.
In the Premier League, Van
find
Persie's got
Is there no reason?
144 in
Yeah, he's
208.
No, he could have went to Man United and won all the trophies he won. He pied them
I'll
off
do
and
it
came
now.
to Newcastle.
It's 1-2, isn't it?
You really believe
So
that?
Van
could.
Persie.
Yeah, but what's Shearer's?
Well, we're going back to, so remember this: 1.94 for
Yeah.
Van Persie in terms of
What?
games to goals.
No, it's... Oh,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
going to
other
say, I
way
thought you
around.
meant goals
So
per
basically
game.
0.5.
Yeah, what do you have to do it weirdly?
Plus, by the way, Shearer had like 2-3 seasons out with like career-ending injuries.
Yeah, mate,
And
Shearer
still-
was-
so
Shearer
like
was
out
brilliant.
of his career, he had like 2-3 seasons out of his prime.
Shearer
because
was
of-
brilliant.
Did you say Shearer did it at shit clubs?
Shearer
Even though he won the Premier League with one of those clubs.
1.69
Can't be that
games to
shit.
go.
we were pretty
Shearer's
shit.
got a better record.
Then who?
Van Persie.
I wasn't on about. I was on that Suarez.
Oh, you want to know Suarez?
Like, Suarez would have played the amount of games.
No, don't switch. We're on about Van Persie. Let's go.
Shearer's got a better record than Van Persie.
Thank you very much.
He's all okay.
I don't think he'd have better than
But
Suarez.
Joe's point is
He wasn't that
perfectly
long.
valid, though. Suarez is pretty much
I'm
the
fine
third
with Suarez.
best player
No,
in
I'm
the
fine
modern
with
generation.
Suarez. It's when he said that he couldn't lace Van Persie's boots, which
he
is a bit
couldn't.
is ridiculous.
Suarez got a better record out of all three of them.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
he's
I'll
only
accept
He's there for 2
Suarez.
seasons, hasn't he?
Let's do Haaland.
Tight though.
It's
tight.
not far off.
I will give you a
Suarez.
chance to retract the Van Persie Shearer statement.
You can suck these.
You know, I think Suarez, in fact, he did it in 2-3 seasons. It's just a bit like.
Who?
Yeah, are you
because
not
he
basic?
got too
If you
good for the team.
objectively look at just Premier League, ignore MSN, ignore Barcelona.
No, do you
Not
remember
one
what
of
he
them
was
players
doing in
could
that
have-
Liverpool
yeah,
side.
could have dragged that Liverpool team.
Unplayable.
Yeah, I know, but so was Van Persie.
Not to the level Suarez was, mate.
Suarez would do it on
The
his
way
own,
Van
though.
Persie would just peel off defenders and volley in
He was
shots.
an amazing footballer, but Suarez was
every
an
time
absolute
is a volley.
freak.
It is
He was
always a
so
volley.
good.
Yeah, it's Suarez is the best striker I've seen in the Prem.
Yeah.
You've not seen Thierry Henry before?
I think at their peak, it's probably I'd probably edge it Suarez.
Would you, in a comparison?
Henry's the best. Henry's the best Premier League player of all time.
Yeah.
but at their peak in the Prem, I don't. Suarez that season was.
I don't know. I think at their
Nah,
peak
you're
in the Prem, it was Henry. Because I
Yeah,
think Suarez's
with the
peak
players-
was at Barca.
with the
Henry
player-
scored 30 goals in a season, 3 seasons in a row.
Yeah, I think
2020 as well, didn't he?
I think
20
his-
goals, 20 assists.
Suarez's peak was at Barca, whereas Henry's was still in the Prem. So
Yeah.
I think in just
Yeah.
peak levels, I think Henry probably pips him.
Oh,
It's close though.
It's very close.
It's fucking close.
So you're saying Suarez and you're saying Suarez.
It'll be Suarez.
Henry's got a better goal record than all 4 of them.
Has he?
Yep, in the Premier League.
No, mate. Henry's my best player of all time. In the
Henry won 4 golden boots.
and he got the assist record, didn't he?
2020.
Yeah,
Golden boot.
Henry's the fucking goat.
2 player of the seasons.
Yeah, what? I don't know what you're arguing here.
Henry's just a fucking goat. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
but he
saying.
wasn't in the conversation.
Well, he should have been.
That's how good Thierry Henry is. We had a conversation about 4 strikers. He wasn't mentioned, and he's popped up.
Theo still managed
Yeah.
to bring him up.
And Henry is still the best player out of all of them. Anyways, let us know in the comments who do
Definitely
you
not
think
Shearer.
is the best out of all. Also, I do think the fact that, look, I think recency bias maybe a bit. I think if you're looking at objectively Alan Shearer in terms of
It'd be interesting to see if there were 4 older people.
Yeah.
How many people would say
Shearer has to go
top
above
that.
Haaland as well. I'm sorry.
We're talking
But
about.
yeah, but I said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
Alan
give it-
Shearer was never world class. He wasn't.
Oh, you
He
just
wasn't.
wrong, mate.
He
You're
wasn't.
just so wrong. This is a common Garrett L.
It's not. People get clouded by like nostalgia
Clouded
and
by
shit.
the top Premier League
Honestly,
top goal
Alan
scorer. What do
Shearer-
you mean?
Alan Shearer never did it at like the top level. He flopped hard for
He's playing
England
in
at
the
major
He
competitions.
Luke, what you
hard
got-
for England. He
Luke,
hadn't
Lewis,
scored
I'm about
for
to
like.
back you.
Luke, what you got to remember is
You're wrong
Tom's
on that
2
one.
least favourite
Euros.
colours are black and white.
Can I say Euros? Was
Lewis,
it
I'm
Euros
about to back you.
92?
Guys, you're
92?
Guys,
I can't
We
remember
weren't
which one it
even
was.
in the Euros in
Guys,
92.
No, whichever Euros it was.
guys, in the Premier League, yeah, when Shearer signed for Blackburn, these are the goals in order of the seasons he scored for the Premier League. Ready? 16, 31, 34, 31, 25, 2. 14, 23, 5, 23, 17, 22, 7, 10. And don't get me wrong, there were more
he's
teams.
he's
there
an
were
amazing
more,
goal
there were more
scorer.
teams.
3 major injuries.
But there are also
that got to do with
40,
anything? He's
lost 3
44
seasons,
games this
lost his
season, was
pace.
it? Was it 44 games?
Here's a question.
At the start, there were more games.
If Kane goes to United and wins a league title, is he a better striker than Alan Shearer?
He
I
already
think he
is.
is anyway.
Well, if he catches the goal record.
Surely you think he's anyway, no?
I'm not sure.
Kane's a better striker
I don't
than
know.
Shearer.
I do really like Kane.
Are you
but-
joking? Are we being serious?
Kane's a better
like
footballer,
Shearer could
man.
drop in the hole and turn and
Yeah.
spray balls like Kane can. Has he got the
No.
vision or passing
No,
range
if
of
Kane, if Kane wins the league, I'll accept
they're
it.
equally as good finishers.
No, if Kane wins the league, I'll accept it. But as I say,
What the fuck has that
Yeah,
got
but
to do with being a better
does that
player?
mean does that mean
Suarez
Anderson
hasn't won the league.
Does that mean Anderson's a better
yeah,
player
no,
than Steven
Suarez
Gerrard?
made up for it by his like he's performed way better at that
Drop
high
that in
level.
there.
Like,
Just drop that.
Drop that ball.
Lewis, does that mean Anderson's a better player than Steven Gerrard?
Who?
Anderson's a better Premier League
easily.
player than Steven Gerrard. Is
Yeah,
that right?
Anderson's world class.
I hate that argument with the
Look, we all know
trophy.
Dale Nielsen is better than everyone.